Okay, let's dive into something really interesting today.
Yeah.
What happens when a brand like Alpine, legendary for those light, agile sports cars.
The A110.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happens when they decide to build a 5-seat electric fastback? We're talking about the new A390. It's the second car in their electric dream garage.
Right. And it's a big shift. Alpine means pure driving pleasure, traditionally. The A390, it's much larger, more versatile. So the big question is, how do you keep that core, that sort of Alpine soul, in a 5-seater EV?
And that's what we want to unpack, right? Look at the engineering, the design, how they're trying to pull this off.
Precisely. That's the mission.
So right off the bat, one thing that seems crucial is how they're dealing with the classic EV problem: weight.
Inertia.
Oh, absolutely. Making a bigger electric car feel nimble. That's tough.
So what's their approach?
Well, their main solution is pretty unique for this kind of car. 3 motors.
3.
Yeah, 1 up front. But the real interesting part is the back. 2 dedicated motors back there. Permanent magnet synchronous ones, which are good for performance EVs, right? Power density, efficiency, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Good choice for performance.
So 2 motors just for the rear wheels. Why? What does that do?
Well, that enables their patented system, Alpine Active Torque Vectoring.
Okay.
Because you have 2 motors, they can independently control the power, the torque, going to the left and right rear wheels instantly, precisely.
So it's like pushing or pulling one side more than the other through a corner.
You got it.
Yeah.
Instead of just breaking a wheel to help turn, which kind of kills momentum.
Yeah, that feels sluggish sometimes.
Right. They're driving the car through the turn using different amounts of power. It creates this yaw effect, helps the car rotate more easily, fights that inertia you mentioned.
So it's meant to make this bigger EV feel more agile, more like a traditional Alpine, even with the extra weight.
That's the core idea. Better handling, better safety through corners. It's their main technical play for keeping that Alpine feel alive.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so they've engineered the car for agility, but how do they connect that feeling back to the driver? EVs can sometimes feel a bit numb.
That's a really critical point. And you can see they've thought about the driver interface, like keeping physical buttons for climate control.
Oh, good. Less screen poking.
Definitely. And then you've got those buttons on the steering wheel, the sports steering wheel, very F1 inspired.
Yeah, the blue RCH one and the red OV.
So RCH lets you adjust the regenerative braking level really easily, thumb control, from almost nothing to a full 1-pedal drive.
Puts control back in your hands. And OV, that's the overtake button.
That's the one. Overtake. Sounds like fun, right?
A bit like a video game boost. Gives you extra power for, 10 seconds?
Yeah, up to 10 seconds. Another patented feature. It's designed to give the driver that direct, on-demand burst. It's about engagement. That plus launch control.
Right, with the sounds and visuals.
Yeah, adding layers of, theater and involvement you might miss otherwise.
Okay, speaking of involvement, sound. EVs are quiet, great for cruising, but you lose engine feedback. What's Alpine doing there?
They call it Alpine Drive Sound. And it's not just some generic fake engine noise piped in. No, they say it uses the actual sounds from the electric motors themselves, but then they've shaped and tuned those sounds. Worked with acousticians, musicians even.
So giving the motors a voice, basically.
Kind of, yeah. To give you audible feedback on what the powertrain's doing.
Yeah.
Makes you feel more connected. You can choose different sounds too, like sport or daily, and it plays through a WLTP audio system.
So a deliberate attempt to bridge that sensory gap. Interesting. And visually, does it look like an Alpine?
I think so. The overall fastback shape, the stance, it definitely nods to the A110.
Okay.
But then you get closer, you see new details. These illuminated cosmic dust triangles at the front, a cool rear light signature from their Alpenglow concept, links the past to this electric future.
And it's built in France, right?
Yeah.
Deep roots there.
Absolutely. Designed and made in Dieppe, their historic home. Motors from Cléon, batteries from Dunkirk and Douai. It's very much a French creation.
Even though it uses the Renault Group platform.
Yeah, the Ampere platform.
Yeah.
But Alpine's done significant engineering work on it to make it their own, to fit their driving philosophy. It's not just badge engineering.
Got it. And performance specs. There's a GT and a GTF.
GT gets 400 horsepower, the GTS gets 470 HP and 808 newton meters of torque.
Wow, 808 Nm. That's serious twisting force.
Oh yeah, huge acceleration. The GTS does 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.9 seconds, which, they point out, matches their A110 R.
Impressive, but it's still practical. You said 5 seats?
Yep, a proper 5-seater. Big boot, too, 532 liters. They know it needs to blend performance with usability for this market segment.
Makes sense. And it's got modern tech, obviously.
Of course, Google Maps built in with EV routing and something called Alpine telemetrics.
Telemetrics, like race car data logging. Sort of, but more for the road driver. They call it a driving optimizer. Gives you real-time data, coaching tips, even challenges. Helps you improve your driving and get the best out of the car safely.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. You've got the unique 3-motor setup with torque vectoring, the driver-focused controls, the special sound design, nods to heritage in the styling, French manufacturing, integrated tech. What's the takeaway here for Alpine's electric direction?
Well, I think it shows they're really tackling the EV performance challenge head-on. They're using clever engineering, focusing hard on that driver experience, trying to translate that lightweight, agile legacy into a very different type of car.
They're not just slapping an Alpine badge on an electric platform.
Exactly. They're trying to build an Alpine that happens to be electric, making a statement that the soul of driving isn't just about combustion engines.
It's about the dynamics, the feel, the engagement.
Yeah.
Right, which leaves us with a really interesting thought for you to consider. As cars increasingly use complex software, multiple motors, things like active torque vectoring to shape how they drive, how will cars like this A390 change our whole idea of what gives a car its character, its soul in this electric future?